Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Welcome back to the second day of student presentations and the 2014 Innovation Summit powered by Lockheed Martin. I'm Jack Green, Board President for the Conrad Foundation. Today is a big day. 2 more rounds of presentations, a fireside chat, and of course, the awards ceremony. It is once again my pleasure to thank those who make the day's activities and presentations a reality. Join me in giving a round of applause to some of our special corporate guests who are here on behalf of their supporting organizations. Megan Campion, Lockheed Martin, our title sponsor. Regina Schofield, Battelle. And Richard Black, PepsiCo. It is my special pleasure to introduce a good friend of the Conrad Foundation, Richard Black. He's Vice President of Global Nutrition for PepsiCo. Richard joined PepsiCo in January 2013 as Vice President of Global Nutrition, leading PepsiCo's dynamic nutrition team to develop and drive a nutrition strategy that fuels PepsiCo's innovation and portfolio transformation through nutrition science. Richard and his team work closely with PepsiCo's sector R&D organizations and Global Nutrition Group to leverage nutrition science for the PepsiCo brands. In his 20-year career, Richard has held nutrition and health wellness leadership positions at Nestle, Kellogg's, Novartis, and Kraft, with a focus on dairy, sports nutrition, and macro-micro ingredients. Richard is a member of the American Society of Nutrition, Institute of Food Technologists, the Obesity Society, as well as various food industry trade associations. Welcome, Richard.
Hello. Good morning, everybody. I do better if I can wander around the stage a little bit. Thank you very much for the introduction, and thank you, Nancy, for the opportunity to speak to the students here today and everybody else as well. I'm sure you folks probably appreciate how spectacular the opportunity is that you've been given to participate in this event. What I'd like to do is talk to you about 3 things really that I find important and that I think are going to be very relevant for you as entrepreneurs, as young business people going forward, especially in the STEM, as you think about science, technology, how to interact with other people, how to interact with your partners, your teammates, going forward in life as well. And just a few quick lessons that I've learned over this time that I've been spending at a number of different companies. I'm going to tell them, I hope, in some stories that you might remember. As somebody once said to me, the shortest distance between 2 key points you want to make is a really good story. So I'm hoping that you'll remember some of these stories. And maybe they'll serve you well as you go forward in the future. So 3 things I want to cover. I'm going to talk for about 15 minutes. I hope we're going to have some time for questions after that. I'm going to talk about trust. It's really, really critical in the business that I'm in. I'm going to talk about listening, because I think so often we think we're listening to what somebody's saying. When you're already crafting the answer in your head, you've shut down what they're telling you because you already know what you want to say in reply. So listening, and passion is the last one, passion for what you do. So let me start about trust. Every day we work with people that have a different view of the world than we do. Really different view of the world than we do. Whether or not you're talking politics, whether it's sports teams, whether it's what's your favorite movie. But unless we go into the conversations that we're going to have with these folks, assuming good intent, We're always going to be assuming that they're disagreeing with us because they must not like us. Or perhaps they're not smart enough to know that I have the right answer and they just have to listen to me long enough until they understand that I have the right answer. Or any number of other reasons. But you have to trust, in fact, that just as you think you are right, they too believe in the answer that they have on whatever the topic might be. And it's up to you to not argue them into the ground about your idea. Think about the team that you're on when you were trying to resolve a thorny issue. And somebody said, oh, I've got the solution to this one. And somebody else said, well, no, that's not the right solution. I've got the right solution. You must have gone through this when you're problem solving the proposals that you're putting together. And you can get so frustrated with somebody because they don't want to listen to your idea, often not realizing that they are probably equally as frustrated with you because you're not listening to their idea. My point here is that everybody in that conversation is really trying to tackle the idea, the challenge, the problem with the same level of honesty and integrity that you are bringing to it as well. They're just coming at it from a different point of view. And my experience has been that you've got to step away from your own opinions, your own views on the issue, in order to actually listen to what other people are saying and assume best intent. Don't assume they're only trying to knock down your ideas. Assume best intent. And what that also does is it helps you to, once you assume that, it helps you to trust their insights as well. Trust what they are bringing to the table. One of the best stories I've ever heard on this is when I was working at a company. We make cheese, and at that company, you might guess which of those companies it was that makes cheese in the US, asking people within the R&D community to come up with a solution to a problem. And I always talk about when you're trying to solve a problem, there's the what and the how. The what is the problem itself. What are you trying to do? How are you going to get to that problem and solve it? The task that was put to the R&D team was, I need to find a way to use the water twice when we make cheese. Use a lot of water when you make cheese. Water has to be purified afterwards. It can't just be dumped into the sewer system. You have to do a lot of treatment to the water. Very expensive. So I need to use my water twice. R&D people went away, came back about 2-3 months later and said, you know, that's really, really hard. But we figured out a way to use about 35% less water. And we think we have line of sight to a 50% cut in your water usage. And the guy that gave the assignment said, let's just stop. Don't you understand what I asked you for? I need a way for you to figure out how to use the water twice. Yeah, no, I heard that. But we can get to 35% reduction, and I think we'll get to 50%. Stop. Use the water twice and just go away until you can figure out how to use the water twice. And you see the problem, of course. The person that was giving the task did not trust his R&D staff to figure out how to do it. He decided that the best way to cut water use was to use his water twice. Any other solution to cut water use just wasn't acceptable. He didn't trust his people enough to let them do what they thought they could do and to actually leverage their knowledge. And that's what you need to do, is step away from your own notion of what the only solution might be and let other people look for other solutions. As long as we agree on the prize, what the what is, there's going to be a number of different ways to solve towards that what. And as you work through the problems in your teams, keep that in mind. Everybody's going to have a different approach on this. And if you just will not bend on your own solution because you know the path to go down, things will go a lot worse for you. That's absolutely for sure. I cannot stress that enough. For my business, I work a lot in the area of trust and building trust. I work for PepsiCo, and a lot of people on the obesity side of the debate in public health say, Pepsi? No, PepsiCo. I stress PepsiCo. People don't know what we actually make, but we are also Quaker oats. So if I said I work for Quaker, people working in obesity would say, oh, okay, Quaker people, oats, I get it, yep, come on, we'll talk. Or Naked Juice, we do Naked Juice as well. If you've not had that stuff, it's great. It's really thick, heavy, smoothie kind of things. It's really filling. They'd say, oh yeah, Naked Juice, wonderful product. Yes, come talk to us. Oh, you're Pepsi. But I'm PepsiCo, and working towards establishing that trust in what we do, it's critical in all aspects of the work that you do within any of your teams as well. Part of that trust I hinted at as well was listening. It's listening to other people and not making assumptions about what they mean. And I know I've fallen into the trap before in doing this. I'm sure many people here do, and I hinted at it before, where somebody's telling you something, you think you know where they are going with that story, with that idea, and you either jump in and cut them off, not letting them finish, or you are already forming your reply. Now, I used to jump in a lot, and my wife was the one that taught me not to do this, because she would absolutely stop talking to me in a conversation. I'd say something and she wouldn't say anything back. I'd say, why aren't you talking? And she'd say, well, because every time I do, you interrupt me. And when you're ready to let me talk, then I will talk to you. Okay, I heard that. So I don't do that so much anymore. But you're still listening, you still want to jump ahead. You go, okay, I know what she's going to say. Okay, I don't want to lose this thought. And I'm focusing so much on the thought that I want to express to her back, I sometimes lose the thread of what she's saying. And I'm assuming that I know where she's going. There's a great story that somebody told me. His name is Mickey. I can't remember his last name, and I apologize for that. But Mickey was a facilitator at a meeting. He's married, and his wife was an opera singer. And for those of you that heard the story, I apologize, but it's a really good story, and it's a true story. His wife is an opera singer. She had taken a sabbatical from singing in order to start a family, and they had a little daughter. And his wife was a little bit nervous about getting back into singing again. But one of their close friends was being married, and this close friend said, hey, would you be able to sing at our wedding? And his wife was very flattered about this and said, sure, I can do that. I'm going to have to practice. I'm going to have to get back into it and all that sort of thing. So she started to work on her voice and training, and I have no idea what goes into that sort of thing, but their young daughter wanted to play with Mummy when Mummy was trying to get back into into shape vocally, I suppose. And Mummy was getting a little bit frustrated with their little girl because she wanted to play, and Mummy had to practice. So she said, Mickey, please, we don't know the daughter's name. Please take our daughter outside and play. I have to practice. I have to get ready for the wedding. And so Mickey said, okay, come on, honey, we're going to go outside and play. But I want to play with Mummy. No, Mummy has to practice. So out they go outside, and they get all dressed up. It takes a little bit of time. She's 2 years old or 3 years old. They get outside. It had been raining, and they wander around the back of the house, and they see off in the distance this gorgeous rainbow. Just astounding. You know, one of these double rainbows, really, really intense. Oh, we have to go get Mummy. But Mummy's practicing. She doesn't want to play with me right now. Oh, Mummy will want to see this, if only for a minute. So they go get Mummy, you have to come see this rainbow just from, oh, okay. Wow, Mummy's thrilled. It's a beautiful rainbow. Okay, fast forward a couple months. Mummy's gone somewhere, I don't know where. Mickey's on the phone talking to somebody about business, and his daughter comes up and pulls on his pant leg and says, Daddy, where's Mummy? And Mickey says, just a minute, sir. Mummy's not here right now, honey. I'm on the phone. Can you just hang on a second? Daddy needs to do some work. He's talking on the phone again. Daddy, where's Mummy? Honey, I told you, Mummy's not here. Daddy's on the phone. Wait a few minutes, and I'll be with you. So the little daughter shrugs, walks off. Mickey's standing there on the phone still, You can see in the living room, sun shining in. His daughter goes up to one of their nice living room overstuffed chairs, takes her sippy cup, looks at her dad, pours her sippy cup onto the chair. Right there, it's bright sunlight. You can see it hitting it, splashing all over. Dad says, I gotta go. Goes and grabs his daughter, yells at her, and says, you're having a timeout, young lady. Marches her into the room. Comes back in 10 minutes and says, why did you do that? Why did you pour juice from your sippy cup onto the chair? I didn't pour juice from my sippy cup on the chair, Daddy. Whoa, now it's getting bad. Yes, you did. I watched you pour it. I didn't pour juice from my sippy cup onto the chair, Daddy. Honey, I watched you do it. I was on the phone. I poured water onto the chair from my sippy cup. Why did you pour water onto the chair? I was pouring it through the sunlight. I wanted to make a rainbow so Mommy would come home. Yeah. He assumed he knew what his daughter was doing. He didn't ask the question. It really drives the point home, doesn't it? We often make that assumption, and we don't listen to what the other person is trying to say. Last point. Whatever you do in life, any of the projects you're working on, you have to have passion for what you do. There are all kinds of jobs out there in the world, all kinds. And you can get a job doing just about anything. But we spend so much time at our work that, in my view, you have to have passion for it. There could be all kinds of different ways you can have passion around your work. Never in a million years would I have said when I was growing up, gee, you know what I want to do? I want to be the VP of nutrition at PepsiCo. Never in a million years. But what I am passionate about is nutrition. I came to that rather late in life. I think it was 26 or 27 by the time I started studying nutrition. But it really struck a chord for me. And it's made all the difference in the world in what I do day in and day out. My wife and I, we have 3 children. Our oldest is 33, and he did a degree in engineering. And I can remember having conversations and saying, Pat, engineering, you know, I don't know what you should do. I don't think you should do engineering. Oh, I'll be great at engineering. They say it's math, it's this, it's that, it's creative. Huh. Okay, so he did engineering, graduated, hated it, worked for a few years in oil and gas in Calgary, Alberta. Well, I'm from Canada, Calgary. And at the time, the joke was, if you have a heartbeat and you know how to breathe, you can get a job in oil and gas in Calgary. He literally, first place he put his resume into, no, this is absolutely true, handed it in, small company. We decided it was going to be a small company in a big office building. He walks down the hallway. He hits the button for the elevator. Somebody sticks their door out. The office says, hey, are you Pat? Yep. Did you just leave this resume here? Yeah, I did. You want to come talk to us for a minute? And 30 minutes later, he had a job. That was Calgary in the oil boom. Yeah, 30 minutes. So he hated it anyways. Quit. Told us he's quit. Wow. Lives off his bank account for a year or two trying to figure out what he really, really wants to do. He decides he wants to do animation. Oh, there's a competitive field, animation. Competitive to get into the programs, competitive to get a job. He gets into two of the best programs in Canada. Thankfully, he did not get accepted into Caltech or CalArt. I guess it's called CalArt, where tuition's like $50,000 a year. Where he went in Canada, tuition was $1,400 a term. $1,400, yeah. So we could afford that. He had a job before graduation. And I remember he couldn't get to sleep on Sunday night because next morning, Monday, he was going to start his job. And he said, I'm getting paid to draw zombies. He was drawing zombies for a video game. Within inside of 3 months, he was actually working on the Avengers cartoon. Iron Man, the Hulk. Yeah, doing storyboards. He does storyboards. Now, it turns out, he said, you know what? Not for me, because of the style of the cartoon and the way they're doing these things. So now he does VeggieTales. Does anybody know VeggieTales? Bunch of hands? Yeah, I had no idea. No idea what VeggieTales were. But apparently it's a big thing. So now he does storyboards for VeggieTales, and he loves it. He just absolutely loves it. Our middle guy, he's a pilot. His pilot, age 17 or 18, something like that. He's doing his PhD in aerospace aeronautical engineering. That's what his passion is at Purdue. And our daughter, who's just graduating at Hopkins, is looking to go into medical school because that's where her passions lie. That doesn't mean they'll stick with them their whole lives, those ideas, those careers. But that's what they're passionate about now. And so as you go forward, think about that passion. I work at PepsiCo because I'm passionate about nutrition. Every day, this is a scary statistic, every day, over 1 billion times a day, a serving of a PepsiCo product is consumed. Every single day. And I have an opportunity, through my job, to impact the nutrition of those foods. I can touch 1 billion people a day through our foods. And that's why I do the kind of thing that I do and why I'm so passionate about it as well. And that's what I would say is my last message to you. Whatever you do, be passionate about it. Don't do it just because you think you should. You've got to really love it. Remember to trust the people you work with, listen to them, be passionate. And if you can do those three things, I think you'll be well served in your career. Thank you very much. There is time for 2 or 3 questions if anybody has a quick question. Anybody at all? First thing in the morning, go ahead. What does it actually mean to do nutrition at PepsiCo? One of the things is get the bad stuff out. So huge efforts at reducing sodium, sat fat, trans fat's already gone, added sugars in our products, largely beverages and the added sugars. It's also figuring out what's in the foods that we already make. So anybody use Aveeno skincare products? Yeah, Aveeno. It's called Aveeno avenanthramides. Those are the antioxidants that are in oats. If you look at Aveeno products, it's actually got oats in them. And avenanthramides are in oats. We sell a lot of oats as Quaker. So trying to understand what those do. It turns out it reduces inflammation after exercise, strangely enough. One of the things. We also look at slow energy and things like that. Notes. We're Gatorade. So sports science and muscle recovery. If anybody does, this is a true thing, if anybody does distance endurance exercise, look up beetroot juice. It's not a weird thing. It's just ugly, terrible tasting beetroot juice. Yeah, and you take about a half a cup before, about an hour before an endurance event, and it actually relaxes your blood vessels, so blood flows more easily, but it improves by about 7 or 8%. You can look this up. I'm not telling you. We haven't done the research. It's all academic stuff. Improves the mitochondrial oxygen efficiency by 8 or 9%. It's really, really bizarre. Don't know how it works yet. Interesting thing if you do exercise. So that's the kind of stuff I do. There was another question over here somewhere. I thought it's, yes, go ahead. The back. Career path for getting into nutrition science at a place like PepsiCo. So my personal career path is bizarre. Chemistry degree, which I did on the guidance counselor recommendation and hated it. So then I went to do my passion, which was electronics, home electronics, stereos, TVs. I sold stereos, TVs, and things like that for about 4 years and loved it. But said, no, I can't do that. I'd taken psychology as a lark in my 4th year of chemistry, and that was really cool. That got me into eating disorders, obesity, dieting, which then led to nutritional sciences. And then from there, I was an academic for a couple of years in an industry. The key thing for me was a solid science background, a solid science grounding. But in order to actually have impact within industry, it's communication and selling. Now, you say, well, what are you selling? I sell ideas. That's what we all sell here. When you talk, when you've done your presentations, when you do them again, you're selling your ideas. And it's that, I think, and that's what I always go back to the retail experience I had. I was doing the buying, the selling, the purchasing from the store, the merchandising, the advertising. It taught me a lot about selling, and we sell ideas, and that's the most critical skill, I think, people can learn within industry coming out of a university education, or whatever the case might be. How do I learn to communicate and sell my ideas? Because that's where you're going to have your impact. It's got to be grounded on science, though, because if you're selling ideas that are terrible, you don't get too many shots at those before people say, yeah, he's very good at selling them, but they're all bad ideas. Yeah, and there was one more question here. Did somebody here had their hand up? No? No? Somebody over? I thought there was another question here. No? That's it. Thank you very much again for your time.
All right, thank you, Richard. We really appreciate you sharing your ideas with us. I'd now like to ask the judges, just the judges, for the health and nutrition and energy and environment categories to go to the Destiny Theater, where they'll get some brief orientation before we get started. Take a quick break, and everyone should assemble in the Destiny Theater about 5 minutes before 9. Thank you.